Hello there guys, what we are going to be doing today is creating a very naughty race. So we're going to create a race that the drivatars are not going to be able to win, which means that if you're a really bad driver, you can copy what I'm about to show you or just use my blueprint and win very easily on Unbeatable. Now if you've never done this before, you just drive to any existing race, press the button to go into it, and then you pop over to create route. However, I must warn you, before you click on this button, have a look at your map, because you cannot access the map once you've started doing this. Well, let's turn all this junk off. Right, I am going to start my race over here. I'm starting just there. It's the race that I'm starting from is called the Bamborough Coastal Circuit. So that's the one I'm starting from. I'm going to go north all the way up the coast, and then when we get to this little fork in the road here, let me zoom in, I'm going to go left and then down this road all the way through the centre of Edinburgh out here. I'm going to go to this roundabout and then go down the entire length of the motorway to this roundabout right here, and then I'm going to come back up. So it's quite an easy race. It's something that you probably want to do in a Forza Edition car with a speed boost, because you're going all the way down the motorway, so you're going to get a lot of speed. As I do this, I am going to be driving the race to create it, obviously, and I'm going to be doing a few little detours to force the drivatars to take a longer route. So to give you an example, when we get to this roundabout, I'm just going to go left the normal way. So I'm going to drive around it like this, the English way. They're going to drive around it like this, going the way that everybody else in the world would drive around a roundabout. So I'm going to be doing stuff like that quite often, just to ensure that even the worst driver can win with this. So let's get started. As I say, I'm on, what's it called? Bamborough Coastal Circuit. So Bamborough Coast Circuit. And because I'm going to be driving up the coast, I'm going to tell you a story about something that happened when I drove to the coast with a couple of my friends. Steve, if you are watching this video, yeah, it's that story. But I'm going to leave some bits out, so don't worry. And don't you dare comment in the comments telling people the stuff that I've left out. You probably know what I'm going to leave out, but don't tell people those bits. The story is already juicy enough with those pieces left out. So we'll just leave it like that. But I don't know if Steve watches these videos, but he is the person that sells me loads of shit cars. I've mentioned him quite a few times, and he is also one of the people that was with me when this particular thing happened. So I don't know why, but when you first start laying down one of these tracks, it always puts you into this view, even if you were in a different view. But the first time that you put down a checkpoint, puts you back into whatever view you had your car set to. So for me, it was this one. Now you don't have to put down checkpoints, you could just drive around, but I feel like a race isn't a race unless it has a checkpoint, you know, every few hundred meters. So I am going to put them down every now and then, just going to like that. You can change the width of them. In fact, when I do the next one, I'll show you how narrow they can go. So they go really quite narrow, and it would be difficult for a drivatar to get through them the way they drive. But I mean, if drivatars really fuck up, then sometimes they just sack it off and teleport, which is really out of order. So you don't want to make it too I mean, here we go, look. You can do that, but then a drivatar is just going to miss it. And then some of them just teleport up to where you are, even though they were really far behind, which is damned cheeky. So you don't want to go too crazy on the drivatars. So driving up the coast. What could go wrong on a drive to the coast? I'll tell you what, absolutely fucking everything could go wrong on a drive to the coast. Couldn't it, Steve? Oh yes, it could. So yeah, my friend Steve, another friend Craig, many years ago, we decided to drive to the seaside. Right, we'd just finished our shift. We were all working at the same place. It's not long after I left school. And oh shit, I wanted to go down there. Oh, I'm going to rewind. That's the way I wanted to go. It's so bad that you can't look at the map. But yeah, if you miss your route, you've just got to rewind, and that's the way I want to go. So yeah, we were all working at McDonald's in Nuneaton, right in the middle of the country, so as far away from the seaside as you can possibly get. And we finished our shift. We'd been on the open, and about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I said, let's go to Great Yarmouth. So we decided to go to the sea. And so myself, also my friend Craig and my friend Steve, and also we picked up Steve's girlfriend and Craig's girlfriend. Now that is 5 people, which is quite a lot of people in a car, you might be thinking. It gets a lot worse. So all 5 of us jump into Steve's car. I'm going to pop in a checkpoint here, you'll see why. Now, when I do this race, I'm just going to go straight down the road that's ahead of me, straight through the middle of Edinburgh. But I'm going to make the drivatars do something stupid. I'm going to send them down here. So yeah, let's get back to our little story. So there's 5 of us. There's me, there's Steve, there is Craig, and there's Craig's girlfriend, and there is Steve's girlfriend in the car. And we decide to drive to Great Yarmouth from Nuneaton, and that takes you through Leicester. Now, as we were driving through Leicester, Steve decides he wants a little bit of a break from driving. Actually, Steve, you've always thought that this was my fault, but you were the driver. You didn't have to stop. So this is your fault, really, because if we didn't stop, what happens next couldn't have happened, could it? I was going to send them on a little wild goose chase there. I was going to send them around the block, but I went a bit too fast, so I missed it out. Never mind. So, we're driving through Leicester, and we stop. And we've got out the car and we're walking around Leicester city centre. And I tend to talk to people quite a lot. So I make friends with any old random stranger. Doesn't matter how dodgy they look, I tend to befriend people. And sometimes this gets me in a little bit of trouble. Right, I'm going to go round the roundabout the wrong way here, forcing the drivatars to follow my route. But when I do the race in real life, I'm going to go just go left. So I'm going to go the quick way. But they've got to do this, which is going to slow them down. So, we're walking around Leicester, and I get chatting to a few lads, which look a little bit dodgy to say the least. And as we're chatting, I decided that Steve might like to give them a lift, because 5 people's not enough in a car, and there were 3 of them. So I said, yeah, we can give you a lift, no problem. So these 3 very dodgy looking guys pile into our car. So there's now 8 of us in the car driving around Leicester. And Craig is the kind of person that gets a little bit funny, a little bit angry. He's got a bit of a temper on him. And for some reason, he started saying things which kind of made the situation... Why am I spinning around in circles? He said a few things he perhaps shouldn't have done, and the situation in the car was getting, shall we say, a little bit uncomfortable, and it was getting a little bit agitated. And then things got a whole lot worse. Craig decided, he was smoking a cigarette and he was sat in the back. He wasn't sat near a window, so he had to lean over one of the guys that I'd invited into the car in order to throw his cigarette out the window. And when he did, he caught the back of the head of one of these guys, and it burnt his head. And the guy went absolutely fucking apeshit. Right, I'm going to go up here and force the drivatars to do something stupid. So, Craig burnt the back of this guy's head. There are 8 people in the car, and a fight breaks out. Now, on the back seat of the car, there was like a wheel wrench for changing your tyre. And the guy gets this and he's trying to hit us with it. So, I mean, it's not just a fight, it's a really bad situation where there's the chance of getting your head caved in. And I am not a fighter. I am very, very uncomfortable with what is happening. And so a fight breaks out in the car. Steve's the driver, so he's in the front, he's quite safe. And his girlfriend's also in the front, but the rest of us are all in the back. So there's, oh, that's the wrong button. So there are 6 people in the back of the car fighting. And as all this is happening, Steve is trying to find a place for us to stop and sort it out. So we're still in the middle of Leicester city centre. He pulls into the car park, and the fight spews out into the car park. And some of us are in the car, some of us are out the car, and it's all gone seriously pear-shaped. And it's the middle of the day, right? There's an ice cream van in the car park and a lot of cars, and this fight is like spewing out of our car. Now, I'm going to do another little detour just here. So, what happened next is a little bit weird and quite scary and very wrong. Somehow, the bad guys managed to get themselves in the car with Steve's girlfriend and Craig's girlfriend, and they managed to lock themselves in the car and lock me, Craig and Steve outside in the car park. So we're trying to get in the car and they are trying to sexually assault Steve's and Craig's girlfriend. So it's getting seriously out of hand at this point. Now, we couldn't get in the car. We considered smashing the window. I can't remember. I think Steve had gone off to try and get some help. I don't know what quite happened here, but the car did open, so I assume one of the girls managed to unlock the car door. But the car opened and everybody fell out onto the car park again. Steve had come back at this point, and yet again, now I'm going to put a checkpoint here, and then I'm going to force them to go a stupid way around the roundabout. So I'm just going to go left. So I'm going to put the checkpoint over towards the left. So yeah, Steve had come back at this point, and the car doors were thankfully open again. The girls had managed to get out of the car, and the fight had once again kicked off in the middle of the car park. Now at this point, knives came out. So yeah, it'd gone from bad to worse. And I got dragged off to just between a couple of cars in the car park. Remember, this is in broad daylight, and they put a knife at my stomach and stole my money. Craig got dragged off, he got mugged, and Steve also got mugged. So we'd all been mugged, we'd all had knives pulled on us. Thankfully we hadn't been stabbed. Steve's girlfriend and Craig's girlfriend had almost been raped in broad daylight in Steve's car in the middle of a car park, and a couple of fights had broke out in the car whilst driving around with 8 people in a car, which is not comfortable. And also there'd been a couple of fights broke out in the car park as well. So it'd all gone seriously pear-shaped. What happened next? We managed to somehow get away from them and get in the car and lock ourselves in and lock them out. So all the good guys, me, Steve, Craig, and Steve's girlfriend and Craig's girlfriend, we're now in the car, the doors are locked, they're in the car park, and they've got knives. So they slashed our car tyres. They didn't slash them all, but I think they tried to slash them but couldn't, but did manage to slash one of them. So they'd slashed the front left tyre. And at this point, Steve drove away, and we're trying to get away from them. And I think they got then joined by some other people, so it's like a bit of a gang. And they were then driving, they were trying to chase us. So it now turns into a car chase around the centre of Leicester. So they're chasing us. Again, this is still in the middle of the day. It's like probably about 5:30. I mean, we'd finished our shift at 4 o'clock in the Nuneaton. It doesn't take long to drive to Leicester. By this point, it's probably about 5:30. So there's some traffic. And we're driving up the A47 just towards the flyover. And Steve, he took a right-hand bend. Fast, at speed. I mean, we're trying to get away from someone, so he's driving like a complete lunatic. And as we went around the bend, I'm just going to pop the last checkpoint here. As we went around the bend, the wheel that they'd slashed, we'd been driving on a flat tyre, the wheel that they'd slashed came off the rim and just rolled straight down the road. So the wheel started rolling just along the A47. It continued along the A47, and we turned a right-hand bend to get into the car park again by Crystal's. And I mean, this is a nightclub that used to be in Hinckley Town Centre. It's probably not called Crystal's anymore. This is a long time ago. So I was in the passenger seat at this point, and I'm watching the wheel bounce off down the road. But as that happened, the car thudded down onto the rim, and loads of sparks were coming up against the side of the window. And this is where I've got to test the race. So now I'm going to be driving against Unbeatable. Oops, wrong one. Oh, I can do it in here. So you can see I'm on Unbeatable drivatars. So there we go. And this is just to test it before I can create the blueprint. So yeah, we're driving through the middle of Leicester on the rim of the wheel on the front tyre. Now, I can't remember what car this was, but this guy, Steve, the owner of the car, he's the guy that also had the yellow Capri. I don't think this was in the Capri, I think this was in something else, but I really can't remember what it was, but it could have been the Capri. But yeah, this is that guy who I've mentioned before. But so he's driving on the rim, and as he's driving around the centre of Leicester on the rim, we did manage to lose them. God knows how. I think it's more like they'd just given up and left us. I mean, they'd already stole our money anyway, so they probably figured there were no point in trying to... Oh, shit. They probably figured there was no point in trying to catch us. But we're driving on the rim and there are sparks flying up the side of the car as we're doing this. And obviously the wheel has rolled away. It was quite comical seeing the wheel bounce down the street. And looking back on it, that bit was really funny. But when it actually happened, I mean, we were all shitting ourselves thinking that we were going to get murdered by what had now become a gang of lads chasing us in a car. So yeah, he's driving around. There's sparks flying up the side of the car. And he pulls into, there's a roundabout on the Holiday Inn Hotel in Leicester, where there's kind of like, I think it's like a BP garage or something, and he pulled in there, and we stopped there, and he changed over to the spare tyre. So at this point, we're all frantic, we're all kind of panicking, while he's trying to change the tyre, I mean, it's the quickest tyre change that has ever happened. So Steve's changing the tyre, we're all looking out for where the lads are. I mean, the girls are hysterical. It's a very emotional situation, as you can imagine. And Steve changes the tyre, and then we get back in the car and we continue our drive whilst keeping a lookout for this gang. And we manage to elude them. We leave Leicester, we continue down the A47 through Norwich all the way to Great Yarmouth. Oh, I nearly followed the route then. I don't need to do that. So that was my first little drivatar detour, which I'm not taking, which has enabled me to catch up with last place. Oh joy! But yeah, I will catch them up again on a couple of the other little detours. So yeah, we then arrive in Yarmouth. By this time it's a few hours later. And we drive down to Yarmouth Beach. It's dark by this time. We actually did stop in Norwich as well, because Norwich was my old uni town. So I stopped in Norwich just to, you know, basically for old time's sakes. It's the place where I went to for university. So this must have been a bit later than I thought it was. I was thinking that I was maybe about 20 when this happened, but I must have been a little bit older because this was after I'd been to university. So we drove through Norwich, went up to Yarmouth, we parked on Yarmouth Front, we went down to the sea and we went swimming in the sea in the dark. It was night time. We then slept on the beach, oh, I don't need to go around there, do I? I need to go this way. We slept on the beach, got back in the car, and we drove back the next morning. We were all working the next day, so we had to come back. We couldn't stay there any longer. But on the way back, as we was approaching Leicester, Craig was getting more and more agitated the entire journey. And he was like, we've got to find them, we've got to find them. Like, I mean, Craig is a little bit of a fighter. We've been in quite a few fights where it's always been Craig that has started it, always. I mean, I did DJ for a lot of years, so Steve's still a DJ now. And we DJ'd in quite a few different nightclubs, and Craig was sort of our roadie for a really long time. He used to carry records for us and stuff. But the amount of times that Craig was get us in trouble was unbelievable. It was very serious. He lost his temper too quickly, and I mean, he seemed to try and solve every situation with his fists. Now, I don't know whether he was a good fighter or not, because normally he got dragged off and then we got left in the thick of it with some hooligans that could fight and we couldn't. So, I mean, we put ourselves in a lot of very bad situations, and normally it was Craig's fault. But in this particular situation, we were driving back home, and we'd got back to Leicester, and the closer we got to Leicester, the more angry Craig got. And he got to the point where he was insisting that Steve had to drive all the way around Leicester searching for these guys. And he was like, I'm going to cut their eyeballs out, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. He was going completely nuts. And I mean, me and Steve just was thankful that we'd got away with only being mugged and not murdered, and we just wanted to get home. But yeah, when we got back, it was almost time for us to start the shift of the next day. So yeah, that is what can go wrong when you drive to the coast. Now, I mean, that story is juicy enough. Everything I've just told you did happen, but I've left quite a few things out. And Steve, as I said before, if you ever watch this video, for God's sake, do not comment and say what I've left out. That would be bad. It would be very bad. But yeah, a few things happened. A few more things happened while we were in Leicester. A couple of things happened with the guys. There was also quite a bad reason as to why we was with those guys. And then something really bad happened when we got back to Nuneaton, which I really wouldn't like sharing. So I'm not going to tell you those things. But if oh shit, someone's just got in front of me. How the hell did that happen? How cheeky. Right near the end as well. So yeah, it was really scary when it happened. When all that happened, it was scary. But looking back, it was one of those moments that you do look back on quite fondly, because it was such a crazy experience that we went through. Yeah, I think we were very lucky not to have been in a much worse situation. So there we go, guys. That is the lap. So now I'm going to create... I know you can't see what I'm doing now because it doesn't show you the keyboard, but I'm just naming it, basically. So now it's saving. Now I can make a blueprint with it. So I'm going to create a custom event. And I'm going to upload the blueprint so that you can race it. I'm not going to race it myself now because it would just take too long. But what I'll do, if you want to download this blueprint and race it, you can do that. I'm going to leave it on anything goes. And it's quite a long race, so I'm just going to set it to, I think, 3 laps. So road race, 3 laps. I'm going to have it in autumn, I think. And I'm going to go for sunrise. Sunrise in autumn looks pretty good, doesn't it? And I'll say clear, and I'll keep the timers fixed. So, actually, no, I won't say fixed. I'm going to say rolling. So it's going to start at sunrise. Ooh, we start at dawn. Yeah, it's quite a long race. We'll start at dawn. We'll leave it rolling. We're going to have 3 laps. And that's how I'm going to share it. So if you want to race this race, you can do so. I do need now to name it. So I'm going to call it something that you'll be able to find very easily. Let's call it... I know you can't see what I'm doing now. Right, it's a drivatar cheating race, because it forces the drivatars to do something you don't have to do. So I'm going to call it driver cheat, and I'm just going to call it, let me think. Right, how many laps? I said 3, didn't I? So I'll call it driver cheat 03. So you'll be able to see it in just a moment. There you go, look, driver cheat 03 is what I'm going to call it. So that's the blueprint I'm going to share. And in order for you to be able to get onto that blueprint, you have to go, let's get out of all of this. So when you're in the map, if you want to download this one, well, if you want to drive on this one, pop all the things on, then you need to be over here by the castle, and it's in that one there, which is the Bamborough Coast Circuit. So just go to Bamborough Coast Circuit, and when you get there, click on the setup button, then drive. You can do it on rivals if you want, or solo, or co-op or PvP, but I'm offline at the moment, so they're not available. So I'm saying solo. Then you would go into the blueprints and you would choose... Am I telling you something completely bonkers here and completely wrong? Custom events. Oh yeah, you can go in here and choose it. Now, if you can't find it in here, because it probably won't be in any of these, then just go on people that you follow, but follow my thing first. So you'd have to follow Katumi74 and then do it like that. So this is somebody I follow because he's made an awesome track on here. If you want to follow him, XNY space 1, follow him and then drive this, the Nemesis. He's got it for 5 laps. It's quite long, but it's really bloody good. So follow this guy as well and drive this one. You'll like it a lot. But if you follow me, you can drive the one I've just done. So obviously it's not in there for me. So if I go to my custom events and I just go to my events, there it is. But it's not going to show unless you follow me. So that's how you do it. Let's just have a look at the... I'm just going to start driving a little bit just so we can see the condition of the weather, like the dawn in the autumn, and see how pretty it looks. But I won't do the complete race. It's just going to take far too long. I don't know, I've got no music during this bit. That's unusual. Normally there's music going on now. That feels really creepy and weird. But there you go. So this is my coastal drive, and I will dedicate this drive to that drive to the coast that Craig, Steve and I did a long time ago with Craig's girlfriend, Steve's girlfriend, and for part of the journey, 3 absolute freaking hooligans that very much like fighting. I wonder how soon it'll be before the sun comes up on rolling time. Shall I drive around for a while? I mean, you can go now if you like. That's the end of the video. It's done. Bye! But for those people that want to do what I want to do and just see how long it takes for the sun to come up, I'm just going to drive around and see how the weather goes. You know, I'm probably just going to end up talking a load of nonsense and doing the entire race. But yeah, I just want to see how quickly it becomes daytime when you start a race on dawn. And I'd also be interested to see actually if, you know, if it'd get towards evening. I don't think it would. I wish I had the driver line on. I'm really struggling as to where I'm going. Quite hard to see. Although, to be honest, that's probably my television rather than anything to do with the game. This room is quite, someone's messed up already there. Look, in a wall. The drivatars are terrible. But in this room, one of the walls is just windows completely. And it's quite bright. So at the moment, it's not that easy to see the TV screen whenever it's dark. So, I mean, I say it's not easy to see. It's probably easy for you guys to see. It's just like, oh shit, a bit sharper than I expected. It's just not so easy for me. So we're getting in Edinburgh now, into the area where I've made them go off course. Ooh, go on. The guy that got stuck has already managed to recover himself and catch up with me, so I'm back in last place, but now he's got to do that nonsense, and I don't. So yeah, I would recommend that you do something like this yourself, and if you are really, really struggling, then just put more detours. Just do the same as what I did, but do more of them. See this block on the right now? You could send them around there. In fact, I was gonna, but because I drove past it, I then didn't bother going back. But yeah, that's a place where you could send them. But if you think that this is too much and it makes it too easy, then, you know, maybe don't force them to do all of it. Maybe just have one or two little detours and have the rest as normal. When you've got rolling time, if you set it to clear, like not raining, can it start raining? That's a question I'd like to know. You can actually just jump this roundabout. Like that. Ooh, does make you lose control just a little bit, but you don't have to drive around it. You can just jump straight across. I'm really struggling to see the actual route now. It's far too bright in this room. I mean, the blinds are down, but they don't really block much light. I could do with some blackout blinds in here, really. So there we go. I'm now in first place because they've all got to go up over that bridge. I think that piece there would be sufficient. If you're pretty good anyway, as I said before, that bit is going to be fine. Just have that piece in and nothing else. But as you know, I've created quite a few detours for them. The sun will be coming up. Hopefully the sun's going to be coming up just as we're coming back up the coastal path, so we get to see it reflecting off the road. That'll be pretty damn beautiful. This Maserati is exactly the same skill perk set as the Renault 5 Turbo Forza Edition and the BMW, I can't remember which one it is, the Forza Edition BMW. I think it's I can't remember, so I'm not going to say, I'll probably get it wrong. But that means it's got the 3 times speed multiplier. Well, they've got to go round the hard way. I'm just going to do this. It also goes up to a ×7, as you can see I'm at now. Ooh. Whoops. Made a bit of a pig's ear of that. When I get to the start line, I'll pause it and see where they are. See how far behind they are because of all the little detours they had to do. I love it when the sun shines off the road. So yeah, doing dawn and setting it on rolling time is pretty good actually. It looks quite nice. Oops, I'm in 4th gear. I know it blinds you, and in real life it's such a pain in the ass when you're driving in these conditions, but it looks fucking awesome. So, almost come to the end. We're just going to come back up this path. I was kind of hoping the sun would be in front of where we are now, so it'd reflect off this road as we come down, you know, the final sort of straight. That would have been nice. So last checkpoint, and then just the start line to cross over. I'm going to pause quickly and see where they are. Okay, they're not that far behind, so I think maybe some of them got... I mean, I've not been driving fast, have I? Let's be honest. And they're on Unbeatable. So these couple of detours, going around the roundabouts, the long way, this little tiny piece here, that, I do like that, actually. Another little detour on this roundabout, and then this glitch here. It looks like that is more than enough for someone who is an okay driver to be able to very easily beat them on Unbeatable. But I mean, what I was saying here, you could send them up there and around this, something like that. I mean, you can make them do all sorts of stupid things. I mean, I could have made them go down here and then back up here onto the roundabout. You don't want to go too crazy, but there's quite a lot of things that you can make them do that really does slow them down. I mean, up here, we could have brought them up onto this, along this road, back up on here, and then back again. That would have been good, actually, wouldn't it? Look, bring them off, bring them along here, across, and then around this, and then back on again. Very similar to what we did up there. So yeah, we could have done that. So there's a lot of options available for you to slow down the drivatars, but I think this, what I've done, judging by how far behind me they are, for a poor driver, someone who drives really, really badly, this is about right, maybe. I know for a lot of people that are pretty good at this game, this is going to look ridiculous. I mean, you guys can beat Unbeatable drivatars anyway, and you quite often comment saying, what's the point in cheating? It's really easy. Well, it's not easy for everybody. Some people are not that great at driving, and something like this gives them, you know, the boost that they need in order to be able to beat Unbeatable drivatars. So there we go. As you can see, I did want to do at least one lap. Jesus Christ. Okay, this is perhaps not going so well. Right, I wanted to do at least one lap so you could see that by the time I got back round again to the start line, not only was I suitably ahead of them to very easily win, but also it would allow me to skip the parts of the track that I did. So it's not like I got to the start line and it said, hey, no, you're still on your first lap, mate. You've not done a proper lap yet. So I just wanted to show you that. And now I'm going to drive like a complete spoon. So yeah, I'm not going to bother finishing, but it gives you an idea. So that is there for you to do if you want to do it. In order for you to be able to find it, then just follow me on my Katumi74 gamer tag. And then go into the section where it says the people that you follow. And you'll be able to find it. And also that, I think it was XNY space 1. Follow him as well, because that's an awesome, awesome track. You'll love it. I'll show it you, actually. If I quit out of this event, and I quickly jump onto his, you'll see what it is. And it's a really nice one to drive, but it's also got a couple of things in there that slow down the drivatars in a similar way to you know, what I have. His blueprint is set to 5 laps, so it's going to be a longer drive. I'm just going to teleport. I know it's just down the road, but I'm so lazy. Doesn't that look beautiful? This game is very, very pretty. Every season is pretty in its own way. So I'm jumping to solo, and it will be on the people that I follow. So if I go to custom event, and just go to the ones that I follow. Where is he? Friends and followed. And he's called it the Nemesis. So this is from XNY, and then a space, and then 1. So you'd need to follow his gamer tag first of all. Thankfully, it's a really short one. When people want you to add them or something, they've got a really long gamer tag that you need to type in. It's so annoying. So there we go. It's open. I'm not going to race it. I'm just going to jump into it to show you what it is, because I think it's quite nice, and I think you'll like it. I think that this update allowing people to create their own races is just epic. It's so good. It's a real fantastic addition to the game. I would like to see 2 changes. I would like to see them first of all, I'd like to see it so you could start them anywhere, so you're not restricted to where there's an existing race. I'd much rather be able to start them wherever I like. And the other thing is you can't go into the map when it's on, so I'd like to see that as well. I'd like to see you being able to access the map. So here we go. Look, it starts off similar to mine, but he went over the top. Actually, I quite like that. I like that a lot. And then come back down here, and then he went up the motorway, around the roundabouts, and then all the way back down to here and back to the beginning again. Now, obviously, if you have a look up here, I don't think he's put a checkpoint up there. I'm pretty sure he hasn't. So when you go around this roundabout, you don't have to go off that little bit there. So it gives you a tiny bit of an edge on the drivatars. Nothing like what mine did, but you can see how doing little things like that, I mean, you might want to copy this guy's route and do something similar. It's a really nice route. And maybe chuck that thing in here where you're forcing them to go around this thing in the wrong direction. So you force them over there. So you might want to do that. Have a play with it, see what you think. Make some of your own. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Another one that I have made, I'll probably make another video on this, but I'll just quickly tell you about it now. On the Holyrood circuit, let me exit out of this map. Let's quit the event. I'm just going to go back into the map. And there's a beautiful one that you can do here. And I have created it myself, but I mean, you can just create it as your own and then share it, and then people might use it. But up here on the Holyrood, so this one here, the Holyrood Park Circuit, what we're going to do is make exactly the same. Let's get on it again. Good God. There we go. Make exactly the same track as this. So that's exactly what you're going to drive. But when you lay down the track, go up here and go around this little roundabout and then go back down again. So the drivatars will have to do that. And every time they do a lap, they've got to do it. They've got to come all the way up here, but you won't. You'll just go straight across. So yeah, that's another way that you can force the drivatars to do something that you don't have to. Now, because I've tagged this on the end of this video, I don't think many people watch the entire videos. So I'll probably make another video talking about that one. But if you like doing the Holyrood circuit, I like it. It's a really nice race. I actually won this on Unbeatable. I've put up a video about it on the 300S from Maserati. I put up a video saying make me a better driver. A load of people left tips. I followed the tips, and then I did this race on a standard tune 300S Maserati, and I won on Unbeatable. It was insane. But if you can't win on Unbeatable, and I know a lot of people can't, I mean, for me, Unbeatable is outside of my league. It's pretty incredible that I did this. Then setting up something like that and forcing them to come over here, that makes it possible for you. So then you can do a 50-lap race on this and get a load of credits and influence, and use a Forza Edition car as well. So there we go, guys. That's all from me today. I do hope that you've enjoyed this. I hope that you do race that track. I also hope that you start making your own if you've not played with this much yet. But yeah, I wish they'd change it. They desperately need to allow you to look in the map while you're creating the route, because you just, I mean, if you're doing a big route and you want to go back and do a loop, you need to get back to the start, you need to plan it. So if you do one, do bear that in mind. You've got to have it planned out in your head first of all. And I also wish they'd let you do them anywhere. I'd love one where you can actually start it on the motorway, but you can't do that. I've got a few where I start on this point here and then go onto the motorway, and I've also made a couple where I start on this point down here. But I'd love to actually start on the motorway. Now, I've not unlocked all of the races yet, so maybe there is a start point on the motorway if I continue playing through, you know, the main game and unlock everything, because there's a few I've not unlocked. So new ones will appear. I mean, for instance, the drag strip, I mean, I've only done a couple of those. So I've unlocked this one and one over here, and that's it. They're the only two drag strips that I've got. So, I mean, I don't know if there's more, but I'm guessing that there is. So maybe something else will appear that enables me to start in a different place. But there we go, have a play around with this. Try out my track, see what you think. Copy my track, but don't put so many detours in if you don't need them, or put more in if you do need them. And see how you get on. So that's all from me, guys. You have an awesome day, and I'll see you all soon. A little bit later today, I will be doing the next chapter on my Red Dead Redemption videos. So if you've not watched any of those, it would be awesome if you could join me. You take care, have an awesome day, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.